Welcome once again to the Worldly Spouse channel. And for those of you who are just stumbling across my channel, this channel pretty much I give a reflection of what has happened in my past, married to a Jehovah Witness for nearly 2 decades now. And we have children, and we are still married, and we are still a divided household in that regard as far as being so-called unevenly yoked. Until this point, I've been given my past recollections of what happened and bringing it up to the present moment now, where my wife's current state of mind is in regard to religion in our household, between me and her and pretty much everything else. So it's pretty much a first-hand account of what happens to an unevenly yoked couple that love each other, but there is this wedge in between us that causes some difficulty. Mind you, the difficulties really, if you critically think about it, is not an issue whatsoever, but the Jehovah Witness organization makes it into an issue, a life and death situation. My wife, according to them, is in peril just being married to me, supposedly. I want to give an account that something's happened just recently in our lives that's somewhat life-changing in a way, especially to our kids and us. I can't say if it's positive or negative, but I would say is a subliminal cry for help. And with the Jehovah Witness organization, how they induce their will upon families is very subtle and very, I don't know how to explain it. I mean, it just creeps into your relationships, and every little decision that a couple would want to make has some sort of relevance to the Jehovah Witness dogma in a way. Not by me, to a certain extent by me, because I would say, well, this is not right, let's do it this way. Oh, then she will say, oh, but that's not biblically sound or according to their interpretation. I mean, it's only their opinion. And their interpretations of scripture has been flawed from the beginning. If you truly, look at the history of the Jehovah Witness organization from the get-go, 100 so years ago. But that creeps up onto our everyday just living as a couple. But anyway, to go with the story here now is we were watching TV one night, and out of the blue, my wife mentions, is there any possibility that we could move our residence, just move to another place, another city, state possibly, or just get away from where we are living currently. So if you look at previous videos of mine, specifically me explaining my in-laws, basically that is the reason why she wants to move, because of my in-laws, her natural parents. Both of them are full-fledged JWs, social climbers. They want to climb up that JW hierarchy of eldership and so forth. Especially the mom. The mom, I mean, she's she's a Nazi when it comes to the Jehovah Witness organization. But anyway. They are really narcissistic, at least the mom. The dad, he's out of touch, I would say. Very passive-aggressive on his part. But the mom, even more so. But she's a really narcissistic person that pretty much tortured my wife throughout her lifetime, especially younger. Mentally abused her, physically in some points, but mostly it was mental abuse, and she perpetuated this to the rest of the siblings, at least two of them that I know of. But anyway, like I said, out of the blue, she said, "Is there any possibility that we could move?" A couple of years ago, we were not financially able to do that whatsoever. But now, when she mentioned that, I mean, just out of the blue, just a passing thought, she probably thought that we couldn't because being that financially we weren't able to do it before, uh, there's circumstances that would make that a possibility of us moving. And we had a good conversation that night, and we said maybe yes, we could move, we could leave. So the wife and I, we talked for quite a bit about the reasoning why, and we both knew why. And in past episodes, when I give the introduction about my in-laws and their involvement in our lives, uh, we stated that they are narcissistic, like we said, but one of the main reasons why was because I'm sure the mom did this. My mother-in-law spread false rumors throughout the congregation that defamed my wife's character. So the congregation took it upon themselves to do an unofficial marking of my wife, pretty much making her a bad association. And of course, my kids, along with it, are swept under that wave of discrimination in a way because of gossip. None of it is official. None of it, I don't think, was mentioned on the podium when they do a marking talk. It was all within the rumor mill and, the gossip of the ladies and more than likely the men as well, because I've noticed some weird behavior with the men towards me. I don't know if it's just this place or whatever, but they somewhat shuns my wife as far as not inviting her to get-togethers and things like that. And I've explained all this before. And we talked in the past that, yes, we sense that our parents, I would call it, poison the well of the congregation where my wife doesn't have an ability to make friends. She has a handful, but she is a good person and very bubbly and outgoing in a way where it's easy for her to make friends and good friends, which we experienced in other locations where the grandparents were not present. But for some reason, in this present location where we're living at, where we financially were able to settle down our roots and raise a family without having to move anywhere, uh, that pool of friendship, and of course they stick to themselves, so it's got to be all Jehovah Witnesses, not. But my wife does have worldly friends as well. She just doesn't really, um, you know, go the extra effort to go out to dinner with them or invite them to family affairs and things like that. It's always like maybe a coffee break or a passing hello while picking up the kids, something to that effect, but not the lifelong, who you're going to call when you need somebody to talk to sort of friends outside of the religion. Nothing like that whatsoever. And I told her beforehand when we couldn't move somewhere is like, listen, uh, someone who is really horrible or acting the part or giving false sort of, image out there, they cannot keep that image up for too long. Sooner or later, your true self will reveal itself and people would notice and either, call you out on it or make a determination and say that yes, this person is nice and good and trustworthy. You can't fake that. I mean, it would take maybe 20 or 30 years for many people to let themselves go or drop their guard and give your true self, your true nature, but eventually it does come out in the open. I've seen it time and time and again. So I told her, listen, you're a very good person. You are a blast to hang out with and all that good stuff. All the reasons why I married her, and I told her within time people would realize that and make the determination that the in-laws were full of shit, were lying about her character, and there's nothing wrong with her. Mind you, the grandparents are the darlings of the congregation. I mean, they're just a darling of the congregation. They can't do no wrong. They're older, so they're somewhat respected as an older, couple and this and that and the other. So they got that image going. So of course they're going to take their word for it, and they go to the meetings all the time. Hardly they're very into it. So after 12 years, maybe there were maybe one or two people that changed their minds about my wife and gave her a chance and became acquaintances. I wouldn't say friends, but 12 years into this particular defaming of my wife's character years ago is still in effect in a way. My wife still doesn't have the caliber of friends that she's used to making when things are so-called normal. So I guess after all this time, she had enough of it, and she said, and she said this, saying that, after 12 years, I think this poison well is not, clarified enough for people to change their opinions about me, as hard as she may try. So she's looking to, possibly move somewhere else with me, of course. And she mentioned that, is it a possibility to do that, just to leave our community and go somewhere else? And we do. After I made sure that she is at what she wants, does she want to run away from the particular problem like this? And she does. And I agree. So we are going to move. The plans are in motion, let's say. I already took that first strike into saying this is what we're going to do. Now, this is an example of how strong or how entrenched this cognitive dissonance is on my wife about the whole JW phenomenon within her life. Like I said, she's born in, she's fully indoctrinated, so she believes it, thick and thin. Though she does blame the parents for her unhappiness in our community here where we are living. One day, every time I make some sort of move where I'm take that extra step into moving, whether make it known that I want to move or official applications and stuff like that, I ask her, listen, I'm going full steam ahead with this. Are you sure you want to do this to make this change? And she has no regrets still. She's like, no, go ahead and do what you need to do to get us out of here. I'm like, okay. And in this one situation, she has expressed without me prompting that, it's not. She says something to the fact that, and it's not because of my religion. It's just because of my parents. I need some space between us and to get away from them so they won't indirectly control her life and the life of her kids. But she made it a point to sort of say that it's not because of the religion, it's because of them. She's still, 100% towards the religion. So I thought that was, I wouldn't say strange, just knowing how deep she's into it and everything. But, she had to prove to herself at one point that it wasn't the religion that was causing her troubles. It was her parents. I have a difference of opinion, but you know how that goes. Though that does prompt me, and then I was thinking this before when she mentioned that she wanted to move, and if asking if it was possible, that I saw that as like the title of this video, a subliminal cry for help because of the Watchtower, oppressive sort of, I wouldn't say lifestyle, but culture. Yeah, that's the better word. Culture of keeping up with the Joneses as far as, going to the meetings a lot. My wife doesn't go a lot because her parents are there. She has anxiety, so she does not go all the time because, the will is not there to go because she'll just be, depressed because they are there, the cause of her depression and anxiety, and it's all related to her parents. She really has some parent issues, and I see it too. I'm not accusing her or saying that it's all in her head. It's not. I've seen it 100%. The mental abuse and all that. And mind you, I did call them out on it more than one occasion. But anyway, her desire to move to another location is a subliminal, cry for help for some sort of relief, from this depression because she doesn't have the caliber of friends that she's used to. I don't know. This is new territory for me, and I don't know if this is going to be a good thing or a bad thing. And to me, I don't want to see her suffer like this. She she still hasn't hit rock bottom or had her personal Armageddon to see the truth for what it is. And being in this community here where we're living at and facing this sort of, snubbing of my wife, of she's in her 40s with kids, what threat does she have for the rest of them? I don't know. But seeing that, the community snubs her in that way, and me personally, that sort of, will show her that the organization really is not loving, that they are causing sort of, this particular difficulty in her life. And she just needs to sort of like, put two and two together and see the relationship between the organization, the way her friends are treating her, and to maybe wake up from that. I don't know. Moving away from that and going to another location where the congregation, that new location, will not know her history whatsoever. So they are going to love bomb us to death, and all that. And the whole cycle of indoctrination will start up again. And of course, my wife will, go in it, feet first, and go back to her normalcy, making friends again and all that. And then that whole enclosed circle of watchtowerness is around her again. At that point, her her head would be, in the sand again, and not seeing the the oppression of the Watchtower organization in my head. But then again, I don't want her to suffer. I'm conflicted in this sense. Like I said, I don't want to see her suffer like this. And overall, it would be a good thing for all of us, me financially, and more time with the kids. That's what this new move would be for us, is that I will be available closer to home more often, so the kids will not be, fully, indoctrinated. Now at this point, the grandparents, they indoctrinate the kids behind my back, when they babysit and all that. So I have no control over that. I mean, I have to be somewhere else to make a living. and I have to rely on taking them aside later on when we do, things on our own to sort of deprogram that in whatever the grandparents have said. But it's hard. It's hard. So maybe this move will break that cycle of the grandparents interfering with our children. So I'm looking forward to that. But on the flip side of the coin, my wife will be away from the shock doctrine of the organization and their oppressive sort of non-association with my wife. So she'll be in a new location where she will be, fellowshipping with the congregation once again, just like before. So it's a give and take thing, and I think overall for now, my like I said before, my priority is with my children. So as long as they don't, latch on to that belief system and figure out for themselves, make the choice for themselves, and educated sort of critical thinking of it all to make their own, educated decision of what path to take. Where my wife, she is beyond, I wouldn't say beyond help, but it's very difficult for her. There's nothing I could say or show her or do that would convince her that this organization is not what it's all that cracked up to be, as far as the leadership on top and the rank and file on the bottom where she's at. So that's what's going on, and it's going to be interesting. And there's other life-changing and sort of weird, things going on in our family. There's a person related to us that has faded from the faith. He or she is among us, so it changes my strategy quite a bit because it's just a little bit different now. And right now, I can't even formulate my opinions about it. And it'll be interesting on the family dynamics now because this person being in our lives now is really throwing a wrench in the whole, dynamic of our family in a positive way positive way. The family doesn't know, I don't think. Maybe they do. I don't know. I can't even explain it right now because it's still in progress. This whole drama unfolding. And mind you, this person was the family's golden child. This person could do no wrong, doing everything by the script, the JW script of what a JW person should be doing. It's quite interesting, but this person is a very private person, so I don't want to air out any dirty laundry without their blessings or whatever, or say it anecdotally, So that is still unfolding, and I'm just taking it all in and seeing how the chips are going to lay after everything is said and done. It's complicated. I tell people that do not know about this religion, otherworldly people, I do tell them my experiences, and sort of my testimony is sort of like a warning not to get involved with JW people, whether it be romantically or, religiously at that. But I tell them, dude, it is complicated and this rabbit hole gets really, really deep. So that's where I'm at. I look forward to making more videos more often. It's just I don't have the time or the space or the, privacy for me to go ahead and do such a thing. But I will. I want to continue this story because it's got to help somebody out there. And it's therapy for me as well.